The streets are deserted in the town of Eichwalde. We're on our way to visit a family doctor. She's had to deal with a sharp rise in the number of people consulting her since the corona crisis began. Jana Gross spends up to 15 hours a day advising and treating patients. Her practice is in a near constant state of emergency. It was particularly crazy at the beginning of the outbreak.
It was chaos, people coughing and sneezing on each other. Everybody had lots of questions and badly needed advice and information. It was too much all at once.
The doctor now divides patients into groups. Anyone who wants to see her has to phone first. The nurse gets details, and the doctor then decides whether the patient needs to come in at all. The aim is to break the chain of infection and especially to protect the chronically ill. They're particularly at risk if they contract corona.
We split up our consultation times. In the morning we see the chronically ill. Then I do consultations by phone. Then the smear tests that need to be done. And the final part is for those whom I just have to check with a stethoscope or for an infection.
That approach went a long way towards easing the stress. But now her assistant doctor is sick and Gross can hardly keep up. Her next patient is an ambulance driver. He has a chronic cough which has recently gotten worse. The doctor writes him a sick note, but there's not much she can do to reassure him.
If there's already something wrong with your lungs and then you contract the coronavirus, it can go badly for you. I am a little panicked.
A bit panicked? There's no reason to panic.
Keep calm and carry on. That's perhaps the doctor's greatest challenge at the moment. She's running out of face masks and has no proper protective clothing. On top of that, the authorities have provided conflicting information.
With regard to protective gear, we were told at the beginning that you could only carry out a corona test if you had the full equipment. Then another authority said just go ahead and test. And we do need to test after all, so there's huge uncertainty.
Now she takes samples wearing a surgical mask and her husband's cycling goggles. She's turned her yard into a kind of drive-in facility so that people don't have to come into the practice at all.
I think it's important that we make progress, and I want to do my part in that.
What do you mean by progress?
That we get accurate information on, say, how effective isolation is. The response was sluggish at first.
Jana Gross expects coronavirus infections in rural areas to rise sharply in the next couple of weeks. She and her colleagues are doing everything they can to avoid getting sick themselves so they can continue to help those who urgently need it.